Well, with the increasing interest in Navy SEALs due to recent hit movies, Captain Phillips, Lone Survivor, and Act of Valor, SEALs who are normally in the background have moved into the spotlight. So tomorrow night, this spotlight will focus on two former SEALs who are the featured speakers at the 2014 Minnesotans Military Appreciation Fund fundraising dinner. Lieutenant Larry Yatch of Mound and Special Warfare Operator First Class Eric Davis of California are here to give us a preview of tomorrow night. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. I really appreciate it. I love the fact that on the website it says just this once they're letting everyone know they're coming. Because typically you guys are always in the background. That's what we know about SEALs. So tomorrow night when you speak, what are you going to tell the audience a little bit about what you do?
Well, I think there's always an interest about our training, our background, and any of the missions we've been on. And everything we do is fairly secretive when we're operational, but it's important too when we're out and we have the opportunity to share those stories to let people know what's going on. And also, there's kids and there's all kinds of young people out there that want to know what kind of things SEALs do, and it helps recruitment, it helps draw attention. So it's one of those situations where you're glad to step out a little bit, and especially when we're helping a fundraiser like this.
Now, you two guys know each other, and you live in town. So, Larry, you've also been working with this group, so that's kind of how you guys ended up being the speakers for tomorrow night.
Exactly. Yes? We've done, with our business, our normal business here, we've done a lot of work with the group, and when they came to me to ask if I was willing to share some stories, my first platoon, my first time in the SEALs, Eric was in my platoon, and we became close friends over 15 years ago, worked together quite a while, and he was the first person I thought to bring out to help make this event even better.
Now, you were served in Operation Iraqi Freedom, and then in the background here says that you had an assault on the world's biggest oil platform and the largest special operation mission in history. Is this something that we're going to hear about tomorrow night?
It is. We wanted to share not only stories of operations, but also the sacrifices to get through training, and more importantly, to bring awareness to the sacrifices of the families. Our job was easy compared to that of our wives and our mothers, and all of the military veterans in Minnesota that this fund helps to support. It's not only the actual veterans, but also their families.
Eric, you have a connection to Lone Survivor. So why don't you tell our audience what that connection is?
Oh, yeah, so I had, as a sniper instructor, so I was in the SEAL teams for 10 years, 5 of those years spent as a SEAL sniper instructor. So during that time, I had the opportunity to train Marcus Luttrell as he was becoming a sniper. So,
did you ever go to the movie and go,
It's tough to go to those movies.
Is it?
It sure is. I avoid them quite a bit, but this one I did go to. My wife wanted to bring me there. Yeah, for sure. And they did a very good job in the movie. It's a tough one to watch, because those are also my friends that we lost. But it's definitely, again, important to get those stories out there, and I was very proud of Marcus, the way he's portrayed it, the way he's handled himself throughout it, because a lot of people don't understand how difficult it's got to be for him. Sometimes they're just thinking about, wow, he's telling this story, he's sharing a story, and they might not understand how painful and how difficult it's got to be for him, but he's such a solid guy. True Texan, so his heart's in the right place. So the movie did a good job.
Thank you, gentlemen, for both being here. Good luck tomorrow night. I hope lots of people come hear you speak.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, if you want to hear more of their exciting stories, they're speaking tomorrow night. We've got more information on the 2014 Minnesotans Military Appreciation Fund fundraising dinner. You can find a link on KARE-TV.com.
Tonight in Bloomington, Minnesotans will get the chance to say thank you to the men and the women who put their lives on the line for our nation. The Minnesotans Military Appreciation Fund is hosting its annual dinner tonight, honoring veterans and their families. And this year's event spotlights 2 former U.S. Navy SEALs, and one of them is Special Warfare Operations First Class Eric Davis. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So you are one of 2 speakers tonight at this event. Do you know what you're going to say yet?
Yeah, we've definitely been working on it a little bit, and of course there'll be the last-minute preparation. But I think we'll be talking a little bit about what had us, join the service, and particularly, what motivated us to become a SEAL. And then we want to make sure we're paying attention to the veterans from Minnesota and their families, and really spotlight the sacrifice that families go through, and why this fund exists, and why people still want to stay engaged.
And let's talk about this dinner tonight, because I was reading somewhere that like $500,000 is expected to be raised tonight, which is a big chunk of money. Where does that go? How does it help our Minnesota veterans in particular?
So basically what they do is in form of grants. So anybody that's from Minnesota who served in a combat zone. and they verify that through their pay stubs or through something called the DD-214, something you get once you leave the military. And anybody that applies who's served in a combat zone will get awarded some sort of a grant, and then people who have been injured or, unfortunately some of the people who have lost their life, their family will get larger grants. And so that's what the fund exists to say thank you to the troops, but then also bigger picture too is I think to keep them in the spotlight and to keep the public aware that these guys are still out there, even though we might all be getting a little bit fatigued from the war and even some of the stories, but we got to remember our boys and our men and women are still out there.
Right.
So we got to stay engaged.
Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to serve overseas, to serve in a war zone, and to come back to the United States and try and get back into civilian life and the challenges that some of these returning folks are dealing with?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, they're coming from a situation where, inside the government, inside the military, it's a different set of rules compared to, the marketplace where you're competing for salaries and things like that. And with the speed of technology and how fast, jobs change nowadays,
right.
When someone signs up to serve their country, they're basically detaching themselves from that system. So when they come back, the whole game could have changed. I mean, it can be a completely new marketplace. So it's a real challenge for some of these guys to find their way back and find their way into successful careers.
For people that can't make it to tonight's fundraising dinner, is there a way they can help? Is there like a website they can go to? Can they donate online?
Yes, for sure. It's MMAF.org.
Okay.
And they can go right online and donate. And I believe all the proceeds for tonight's event are going, 100% of them going straight to the veterans or any of the wounded warriors or anyone who served. So tonight will be a very special event that way.
And you and I were talking in break, and I think that, you are the best of the best. You're elite. Is there one memory that you take with you of your time in service? One thing that you tell people that they go, wow, really?
Yeah, maybe wow, really, not so because it was necessarily so exciting, but I think it's unexpected. The one thing I believe that all of us take with us is the brotherhood and the love and the friendships and those relationships that we formed. And the person I'm speaking with, Larry Yatch, he was a lieutenant. He was one of my officers in charge, but we became incredibly best friends over the years. Or incredible best friends, excuse me, and those are the things that I would have taken, those are what I really took away. Those are the most meaningful things and experiences we had.
Different than the camaraderie of, say, a day-to-day job that I have with Ken or Chris or the crew here. You're living, breathing, relying your life, putting your life in the hands of those that you work with every day.
Sure, yeah, it's just a little bit of a different mentality. I mean, I think, businesses have that kind of team atmosphere and they have that kind of camaraderie also, but it's not as common, it's not the norm, where we stick together. Inside of the business world, we tend to all splinter and go our separate ways if anything bad happens, but inside of our world, if anything bad or dangerous happens, we come right together. It's a little bit different.
Thank you so much for your service. I know I speak for all of us here when I say thank you for your service. Have fun tonight. Good luck, and we appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, thank you very much.
A big event tonight is expected to raise $500,000 for our Minnesota military members.
Big chunk of change. It's the Minnesotans Military Appreciation Fund dinner, and our own Tom Hauser is emceeing this event. It starts at 7 o'clock. There will be two very special guests. Two former Navy SEALs will speak this evening. The proceeds provide cash grants to those who served in the combat zone since the September 11th attacks. And we will be at that event, and we will bring you more tonight on 5 Eyewitness News at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's a great event, and we are so excited to be a part of it, too, because anytime we can thank, of course, our military members, we certainly want to do so.
And what an honor for Tom Hauser, too. Looking forward to that video this evening.
Yep.
Well, tonight, a special event for Minnesota veterans and their families. This fundraiser dinner at the DoubleTree in Bloomington was put on by the Military Appreciation Fund. With more than a decade of combat in Afghanistan and Iraq, our Minnesota service members are feeling the burden and stress like never before. The Military Appreciation Fund's mission is to show appreciation for their sacrifices by providing cash grants to every Minnesotan who has served in a combat zone since 9/11. If that guy looks familiar, he is. That's our own Tom Hauser. He emceed tonight's event, which is expected to raise $500,000, with every penny going to the Appreciation Fund.
New tonight, a nice crowd turned out in Bloomington to hear from a couple of military heroes. Two former Navy SEALs were keynote speakers at a fundraiser for the Minnesotans Military Appreciation Fund, or MMAF. The dinner raises money for local service members and their families.
Our veterans go over and protect our way of life, keep us safe on a daily basis, and for us to be able to provide either a helping hand or even just a thank you to them when they get back is very important.
The MMAF provides cash grants to those who have served in a combat zone since September 11th, 2001.